Good evening, boys and girls. We made it to the end of another week. Wow. Whew, phew. Here we go. Football is back. It's been 9 days since our beloved Gunners have played a football match. No excuses. We've got Brentford tomorrow. It's time for revenge. And if I can find the right button, we'll get this bloody show started. Here we go. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. Ah, wow. Look how prepared Josh is. That is very impressive. Good evening, boys and girls, at sailors, squaddies, and all those in between. Josh, I'm impressed with that. Well done. Super Kev would be very proud.
It was after the absolute, what did he give us? He gave us what I could best be described as a rollicking about not doing it last show that I was on. So
you didn't want to make any mistakes this time, did you?
No, yeah. I mean, I'm still waiting for Kev to follow me, so I've got to be in his good books.
Oh, Kev doesn't follow you yet.
Likewise, he doesn't follow me.
Oh, God. Well, wow. Sorry, got lippy all over me. That's hilarious. Maybe we should see what we can do about that. You know what? He'll probably actually make you do a test before he says yes.
That's fine. So long as it's not a yellow card test.
Was it David Hay that whenever you wanted an autograph, you have to do the 50 press-ups? If it's not 50 press-ups, I'm happy to do.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. Welcome, James, also back to the show. Good to see you too.
Good evening.
How's everyone doing? You guys had a good week?
Yeah, I can't complain.
Yeah,
I'm winding down into holiday mode. The squaddies are going to enjoy the fact that I'm going to miss yet another game, but then again, it's underneath the 3 p.m. watershed, so I wouldn't see it anyway unless I was in another country, which I might be. So that's my reason why.
A little bit more elevated than the zoo as well, Josh.
I'm going to make sure that I am. If I can time it right, I'm going to be at Lisbon Zoo exactly at the time we kick off. I don't even know if there's a zoo there, but I'll make sure I'm at one.
I'm sure.
Just to wind up the squaddies and wind up everybody.
I'm sure there is. Going to Lisbon, very nice. That would be lovely. A few days out of town. Will those winds die down before your
They've died down already, I would say, fortunately, because I'm southern enough. That, I've not been caught out by those. But anybody in the north of England or Scotland... they've had a rough time of it. If anybody has seen things going on in London, it's been also a little bit of a nightmare up there, but I'll be straight out of Gatwick. It's fine.
How's the wind where you are, James?
Yeah.
No wind jokes. No.
All the trees have fallen into the street. I wish they fell on their houses and we could rebuild it, to be honest. I hate where I live. But no, they've fallen in the road. So, yeah, we've got some of the work. If you see it later on, there's like a beam of like orange lights coming through. I'm not having a Friday night rave. It's just, like probably National Grid or whoever they are cleaning up the streets. I clean them up as best I can, but when it's stuff like big trees and everything else, that's above my remit, I'm afraid.
You keep Britain tidy, hey? Keep Britain tidy.
I try my best. Someone has to.
Well, look, it feels like when there's wind in England, it's similar to when there's rain in Los Angeles or San Diego. It's like the news. It's like, and here's an update on the rain at 7. And you're like, and there's a new newscaster standing in front of a puddle. It's just the funniest thing in the world.
But we panic about everything here now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw a couple of months back when there was this whole petrol crisis, and BBC actually wheeled out a journalist called Jerry Can, which I just thought was the funniest thing ever. I'm like, if that's unintentional, that's amazing. I'm going to go to Jerry Can about the petrol crisis. It's so funny.
It's kind of become a little like American local news. It's so like melodramatic and everything is crazy. So Matty K's asking where your orange sofa is. And Mark...
I just pointed to where it was. Okay. I've just switched the living room around. That's it. So I get the armchair to look straight at the TV. And my partner gets relegated to the sofa, which I think with this
Bless her.
orientation, it's more like being on a chaise longue. So actually, I think she might have won.
The sophistication with this guy. He's going to Portugal tomorrow. He's got the chaise longue, and then you got Marky Mark saying he bet Jay's hair looks majestic in the wind. I bet it does. Do you go out there and sing and just do the J-Lo thing, you know? Woo!
I was going to say, if there's a sofa going spare, you can bring it to where I live and we'll set it on fire outside. That's what I do with everyone else's sofas.
I love it. It seems like we have a bit of a troll in the house. Hey, Ben Johnson. Are you the Ben Johnson who took drugs and won an Olympic gold and had to give it back? No, I believe you are a Manchester United fan. Thanks for joining us. Behave, otherwise I'm going to kick you out. Arsenal doesn't have a Club World Cup.
No.
Oh, dear gosh. TikTok. When was the last time you guys won the Premier League? TikTok, clock's still ticking. Anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? Good evening to all the squaddies in the house. We love you. Thanks for joining us. If you're listening on replay, hope life is good for each and every one of you and everyone is super safe out there. We jest a little bit with the wind, but we hope everyone is safe indeed, of course. But we're going to talk a little bit about football now. And Arsenal, Brentford, at the Emirates tomorrow. Josh will be at the Lisbon Zoo. James, are you attending the game tomorrow, or do you have prior engagement with Dagenham and Redbridge?
No, Dagenham and Redbridge were away to Yeovil, but that's been cancelled. But I wasn't going that far anyway. And no, I am not at the Arsenal tomorrow, but I shall be watching some way. Totally above board and not illegally.
Right. Very good. Anthony Chrysostomou, a fellow Greek in the house. Sophie, has anyone told you look like Maureen Lipman? I don't know if that's... she was kind of cute back in the day. No, I've never had that before. No, never. When I was younger, I had Demi Moore, but I should show you my pictures. Otherwise, you'll never believe me. Right, here we go. We're going to talk football. I do like these housekeeping chit-chat bits beforehand, though, by the way. And I do have something I'd like to share with everyone because it's been a bit of a strange week, but it was also, get this, you guys, now 2 lads, looking to get married one day, have a family and kids, maybe. I don't know. I'm casting aspersions here. But it was my mum and dad's wedding anniversary, 64 years. This is my mummy and daddy when they got engaged. And this is them in today's world as a happy couple. Look how cute they are walking through the streets of Barcelona. 64 years of marriage. They've led the way to show us how to love and be loved, and they're epic human beings. And I just wanted to say happy anniversary, Mum and Dad. Love you very, very much.
64 years. Well done. That's class. Yeah. Well played.
Yeah. It's a long time, isn't it? Very long time. Right. Let's hope it's not 64 years before the Arsenal win the Premier League again. Let's hope we see it in our lifetime. We're going to kick things off the way we usually do. And then I'm going to bring your squads up, right? So we're going to throw Kev's question and comment up. He can't be here tonight. He is working. And here we go. Here's Kev.
Hi, Sophie. Hi, James and Josh. Tactical Friday, which is a nice change. We flipped it. I've got 2 questions. Number 1 is, what is your side and for the Brentford game? And what are the changes? Because no Martinelli. And it will be interesting to see if any of you actually choose Nicola Pepe to play. And if he's going to play, where is he going to play? And what is the formation? So that will be interesting from you. And number 2 is, I am sure you're going to expect us to win the game. Not saying that we're going to take them out big time. I expect a 3-1 win. I'll take 3-0, but I'll take any win. Here's the key. If we have a really convincing performance, does Martinelli get straight back in? There you go. That's 2 questions. Anyway, guys, look after yourself. Sophie, keep them at it. Keep them on their toes. All the best, squaddies. Take it easy, everyone. At ease.
All right, Josh. If you want to, I love how he says I have one question, then he has 2, 3 questions rolled into one.
Wow.
Why don't we kick off, and I will bring up your squad, and also, correct me if I'm wrong, but it might be identical to James. I'm going to put them both up.
Oh.
You have Katie, Gabriel, White, Cedric, Partey, Xhaka, Odegaard, ESR, Saka, and Lacazette. And James Johnston has Tierney, Gabriel, Ramsdale, White, Cedric, Xhaka, Odegaard, Partey, Smith Rowe, Lacazette, and Saka. James,
it's exactly the same team.
It's exactly the same. All right, James, off. Josh, off with you first.
Well, what can I say that James isn't going to say? I can just take all his points, can't I? Because presumably we've got the same logic. For why
easier show for me. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just sit there and look pretty, James. So yeah, I've gone with not wanting to risk Tomiyasu basically for the start of the game. We know he's just come back into training. Well, he's either got 60 minutes in his body, or he's probably more likely got half an hour. I think it's half an hour is what we go with. He comes on, he builds back that fitness, and I'd rather, risk Cedric for 1 game to get Tomiyasu back in for 15 than risk Tomiyasu and lose him for 15 if his injury flares up and we end up looking a bit stupid. So yeah, that's why I've kept Cedric at the back, and I thought his performance against Wolves was pretty good. It wasn't terrible, like everybody thought. I think there were a lot of people going into that game thinking, "What's the point of Cedric starting?" I think, from our point of view, when we were going with it, none of us mentioned Cedric. I said the only reason he'd probably get on the field is because it's a home game for him with all the Portuguese players that Wolves have got. Isn't it ironic that now I'm going to Portugal the weekend after that game? Only in honour of the man that we got. Well, no, we didn't get from Sporting Lisbon. Southampton got it from Sporting Lisbon. So I'm going back to his neck of the woods. I'm sure I'll bump into his parents and shake their hands and say congratulations on producing a player who could put in a decent performance once every 10 games.
You're already drinking.
Oh yeah, I'm already on the chin. That's it. Yeah. But I think Pepe doesn't necessarily get into this side. I think it makes sense that our, maybe I should put it this way, our top goal scorer would probably start ahead of Pepe in Smith Rowe. I think everything else is the same. We know what we saw from that team. We trust it. ESR coming in, if we're struggling to break them down, or Saka looks leggy, then that is the opportunity that Nicolas Pepe has got, because everything that he did do in the Africa Cup of Nations, we've got to remember, was in an Ivory Coast shirt, not in an Arsenal shirt. He's not shown that stuff to Mikel Arteta, so I don't see him getting in immediately. But James, have you got any more case for Nicolas Pepe starting?
No. Sadly not. I'm really
This
sorry.
might be the shortest tactical squad show we've ever had.
No, I like. I'm one of the few that does really like Nicolas Pepe and believe he still has something to offer this team, but it won't be from starting. If you look at what Smith Rowe was doing when he wasn't picked and he was coming off the bench and putting the numbers up still, that's exactly what Pepe's got to be doing. I don't see him as a centre forward. We said it last week. I'll say it again. I only ever played centre forward for Gallywood Eagles in where I live. Kevin played it up front in the Prem. Kevin says it ain't going to work. I trust Kevin. So that's how I feel on that one. Kevin said, what do I think Pepe's best position is going to be? It will be on the bench playing with his coat zip, because I believe the weather will probably still be a bit. Well, sadly, that's what it's going to be tomorrow until he's asked to come on. Which will he or won't he? That's the question, because he seems to prefer playing Eddie up front instead of Pepe, or he keeps Saka on for 90 minutes. So we'll see. And then I see a few people there saying about Cedric instead of Tomiyasu. Again, don't want to risk the guy. He only went into group training on Monday. So, that's still a bit, I know 5 days is a long time in football, but I don't want to risk it. We've got a lot more important games coming up, which I think he will suit us better for. And I'm not overly worried about what Cedric's going to do against Brentford, if I'm being honest. I think in football, sometimes it's all about timing, and they played us at a really, really good time at the start of the season, and we've got them now at a really, really good time as well. So hopefully we exploit them just as much as they exploited us when we in the reverse fixture.
They've started going through that freshman season slump, haven't they? And they've got to be really careful. There's still 16 games left to go. Good evening, Danny, in the house. Welcome, son. Here to support his big man, Josh. Always here to support the Highbury squad. We always appreciate you.
I hope Danny's feeling better as well. And
what's
well, you don't want to. It's a TMI, but I can TMI everybody. It might take the level of the show down a drop, but yeah, he was shitting through the eye of a needle when I last spoke to him a couple of days ago when we podcasted.
It's a good job Newman's not here tonight. That's all I can say. Otherwise, this show will take a very interesting turn. Right, here's something for you guys. You ready for this? The last time we played Brentford, we had 22 shots on 22 shots, 4 on target. They had 8 and 3. We had 65% possession, 35 to them. We had 568 passes to their 309. 85% of those passes were accurate. 65 for them. 12 fouls for Brentford, 8 for us. 0 yellow cards, 0 red cards. Woo-hoo! 1 offside each, 5 corners for us. Now, interestingly, this was our lineup. Are you ready?
Oh, I know it. I did it on the ABW.
I was just about to say, Sophie, the biggest number you're missing out of that is that 8 of that squad are no longer here.
Isn't it insane?
Say 4 of them are in our starting 11. That's it.
Look how my boys come prepared.
There we go.
It might be a boring tactical squad show, but I tell you something, they'll whip out the stats when you need them. I love it. Leno in goal. Tierney, Mari, White, Chambers, Sambi, Xhaka, Pepe, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and Balogun up front. Here was the bench. Bellerin, Saka, Maitland-Niles, Holding, Cedric, Nuno, Reece Nelson, El Neni, and KJ Hine. Huh? Who's he?
Estonia's finest goalkeeper, have you known?
On loan at Reading. doing bits for Reading, apparently.
Oh, Estonia's finest.
So listen, guys, James, I'll start with you. I mean, it's like comparing apples to, I don't even know if we can say oranges on this occasion. Talk about a completely different squad. Unreal.
Yes. Yeah. And like I said a minute ago, it's all about timing. They have a 24% win ratio. They've not won away since October, I believe, since they played West Ham. And they haven't won a game in 6. So we've got to be all over this for me. And if you go back to that game, the only glimmer of something good that game was how well Smith Rowe played against them. If you remember, he got 100% on his final third passing. He had 98% overall passing accuracy, and he created 2 of our big chances in that game. That was the one where he cut it across the box for Pepe and he missed it. And I'm trying to remember the other one, but I vaguely remember the Pepe one because my dad was screaming at the television.
He does that a lot, your dad, doesn't he?
Yes, well, especially with Pepe. He's not a big Pepe and Ben White fan, so yeah, he gives them a lot of stick. But no, they're going to play a 3-5-2, and they're going to pump the crosses. So literally, all we got to do is stop Canos, stop Rico Henry at source, which I believe Cedric and Tierney are more than capable of doing, or if it's not them, then Xhaka and Partey should hopefully be able to contain them before they even get there to that stage. So we've just got to do what we've got to do. Smith Rowe, he's going to do the business. Odegaard's got to do the business, and we'll be all right. You know, the centre-backs, Janssen and Ayar, they're 2 big boys, so I wouldn't be doing this whole 27 crosses thing. Maybe try and play it through the lines or so, see if we can get luck that way. And
so when you say crossing, we're going to have to pound in the crosses, you mean to feet?
Well, not even that. I would just say maybe just, try and slip people in through the lines, as they say, and maybe cut it across the box, like to feet, like you've said.
So, Josh, is it a case of maybe playing a little bit more through the middle, especially now Xhaka and Partey are back? A lot of the times we have relied on Tierney and his crosses, and we've never really had that kind of aerial threat or answer. And a lot of them do go up in the air. And Lacazette, as we know, it's he's struggling to score goals with his feet, let alone his head. What's your interpretation?
Yeah, I think the key thing is going to be the relationship that we've seen before with Odegaard and Smith Rowe, when Smith Rowe's on the left and Odegaard's there, and they kind of interchange, especially with Tierney overlapping, create that little that little triangle. And that's where we've seen Smith Rowe get a lot of his goals. He's going to be the guy that's going beyond Lacazette, getting into the box, putting away, I say, those crosses. That's the big thing, is if we are going to be putting crosses in, they're going to be quick. They've got to be all precise, the kind of pullbacks. That's where Smith Rowe's got his 8 goals this season from, is all about being the smart one in the box. What I'd love to say, and I've said it as a, not criticism, but it is a weakness, I'd say, in Saka's game, is that he doesn't necessarily always follow in when someone else is having a shot. That's how Smith Rowe's got his goals this season, is following in if Lacazette's having a shot or Odegaard's having a shot or even Saka's having a shot. He's the one that goes and gambles at the back post, goes and tries to get a goal there. And I'm sure if Kev was here, he'd say that's how he'd guarantee himself at least 5 goals every season. It's just by making sure he's taking a gamble on there. And that's what Smith Rowe gives us, especially if we're getting shots away as well.
So some folks in chat have been saying, and on previous shows too, that Smith Rowe's form has dipped. He was kind of he became that super sub, came off the bench, scored a few goals. It was great to get a goal in our last game, albeit a lucky one. And hopefully we can improve that and go back to our December form, you guys, where we scored 21 goals. And did that after our captain was benched after that awful Everton game. James, swinging back to you, what's your take on Smith Rowe? Do you think that he can kind of galvanize himself, but then is he the type of player that needs to have that regular run to start? Is it a confidence thing? What do you think has kind of happened with his form a little bit? And if you agree with it, what people are saying?
Well, it was just sometimes a player emerges and you just can't get back in. If you want to look at it, I remember years and years ago when Marco Arnautovic pushed Debuchy and he ended up doing his shoulder in, and Hector Bellerin come on the scene, and we never looked back. And it was a bit like this season, if you want to use an example, when Tavares was coming in for Tierney. He just did so well that you couldn't justify bringing Tierney in at that time until obviously that Liverpool game where, everybody had a shocker, but Tavares was one of the ones that people looked at the most and went, maybe you need to play the experienced guy instead of the new, younger guy now. And we have. And Smith Rowe, he didn't become a shit player overnight. I don't understand. Sorry, I've swore.
Yeah.
I
No, that's fine.
It.
Hey, listen, I was posting a podcast to iTunes, and there's that box where you have to mark explicit, and I used the word bollocks and pussy, and I was like, is that explicit? Yeah. To me, it's kind of not, but I guess it is, so I ticked the box. So here we go.
The second one certainly is.
Yeah, well, I have to tick the box on this one too.
You have to be very careful if you Google that. So yeah, very But
I don't think they're saying. I think a lot of people are saying that about Pepe. I don't think a lot of people are saying that about Emile Smith Rowe. And one of the things that a few people are talking about is his endurance. How he looks. 20 minutes to go, he looks like, not that he's out of breath, but maybe that's a part of his game. Someone was mentioning it in chat just a few minutes ago too, that maybe he needs to work on his endurance a little bit. I don't think people are questioning his talent.
No, I don't think.
Sorry, go on, Josh.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's necessarily a problem. So the reason why we've got a subs bench is that players can burn themselves out in the 70th minute, and then we can just go and get in. Someone's just spoken about Nuno Tavares being an option. We've seen him come up and play on the left wing. That's been an option, as has been, and some of us may say regrettably. So Eddie Nketiah has come out and played on that flank. And I think back to the Everton game where he had close to his best game this season for us, where he at least created a chance that we just couldn't put away. But I would say Smith Rowe, to me, it's not necessarily like the king is dead. It's he had 3 games in the league where he hasn't scored, and before then he scored 4 in a row. So I think it's very much like, is he out of form? He's our most in-form player. Perhaps that shows how high his ceiling is, that for him not scoring in 3 games in a row is enough for us to be concerned about his form.
Right.
But yeah.
Any excuse for me to bring this picture up too. Go on, carry on talking about him.
No, one thing I'll add is I've seen a lot of people talking about Kieran Tierney and how they thought that he didn't have one of his best games against Wolves, and as well as defensively, where people think he's got some efficiencies, they reckon offensively he's getting a bit too obvious now. You know, a lot of teams seem to know what Kieran Tierney wants to do and how he's going to do it. I think when you bring ESR in, which we're going to do tomorrow, he will help Tierney tenfold. Tierney will look better tomorrow than he has done with Martinelli, because he will give him a more of a give and go option, where, you know, Smith Rowe likes to play little taps and then he's off. Whereas Martinelli can be a bit more direct and cut and stuff like that himself. And also Smith Rowe, which I've been really impressed with this season, I didn't even know he had that quality to him, is how good he is at tracking back and winning stuff from defence and then going on his bike as well.
You stole my next question, kind of, sort of, which I love. No, it just shows how smart you are.
Can't always be funny.
Is this conversation that has been brewing over the last couple of weeks regarding Tierney not being as effective since Martinelli's come into the team? And you kind of answered it there, James. Josh, I want you to get your 2 cents in on this one as well. Do you guys think this is fact, or are you seeing that happen? Is he less effective because of the way Martinelli plays?
I don't think Tierney's been effective for Arsenal for about 12 months. That's the mic drop I'm dropping. But I'd say, so people started coming around after 6 months, you know, with Thomas Partey. You said it as well.
Yeah, well, I got killed for it.
I know. But you know what? If people can tell me to go back to the kitchen as well, it's got to be a quality. If they're going to tell you, they've got to tell me that my opinion's terrible as well.
It was even a GIF, and the woman was doing the dishes. It was, you know, it's very, very impressed with it.
I mean, come on, it's 2021. You've got a dishwasher now, haven't you? Surely you're standing at the sink. Where's this nonsense?
Do it old school like my nan did.
With the fairy liquid. No, we're not there anymore.
Mild cream, fairy liquid. We're
going to get sponsored soon.
Any excuse to get the marigolds on, isn't it?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I better be quiet, otherwise someone's getting the marigolds on as I go through security. But anyway, Kieran Tierney. Yeah, I don't think he's been effective for a while. I don't know if it's because we haven't had a striker that he can hit. But to me, when I see Tierney get the ball, we said the same about Oxlade-Chamberlain. I could think back to other fullbacks we had as well. It's very almost like head down, hit the byline, cross. That's it. That's what I see from Tierney. Occasionally, he'll put in a more considered cross when he gets his head up. But otherwise, for me, I see him very much as he's kind of got into that mentality of get to the byline, cross it in. And it's not helpful to us because we've never really see Lacazette there. If he puts his head up, he'll see no one's in the box. But we know we've always got someone on the outside of the box. It's always going to be Smith Rowe's going to sit there. Martinelli might be sitting there. Definitely Xhaka would be an option for him if he wants to play it back. But for me, Kieran Tierney he has regressed at Arsenal since he came in for me.
Wow. So do you think he's become too predictable? There's no X factor about him, or do you always think he's been predictable and you haven't really kind of been super excited by him as a signing?
I was excited to see him as a signing. It was one that we needed a left back at that time, definitely. Am I more excited by Nuno Tavares than I am by Kieran Tierney? Absolutely. But I also know Tavares is right now, reminds me a lot of a young Gael Clichy, and that isn't necessarily a good thing. Clichy wasn't great defensively, but he was brilliant going forward, had more strings to his bow than I think Tierney does. Tierney is a bit more, he's not one-dimensional, but Tavares is maybe four-dimensional. He's got a lot more that he can do with the ball, and he would be one that I'd bring in. at some point, I think it's a point where Tavares will be pushing Tierney next season, especially if we're in Europe and we've got more game time. But that being said, we bring in a striker that works with Kieran Tierney, and the guy will look amazing again, like he did when he first joined the club. And I think it's all about that. You have Olivier Giroud up there, and Tierney's going down, head down, and he knows there's a number 9 in there who knows how to head it. I mean, he played with Ouad, who was a striker that knew his way around that league. It was Moussa Dembele beforehand. You knew that you had a striker that was sitting there that would get you 30 goals a season in the Scottish Premiership or Championship. I can't remember what the first division is called. Anyway, in Scotland, he'd get you that.
The Premiership.
So, the Premiership. I think that's the thing that he's missing, is that focal point. He needs that focal point, really, to allow him to be a more rounded player. But if we don't offer him that option, then he does just revert to, well, I'm just going to play my cross in and hope for the best.
So you agree with James's point about kind of, interestingly seeing how Emil Smith-Rowe is probably going to elevate himself because Tierney's playing, and vice versa. James, for you feel like on paper, well, not on paper, on the pitch, do you feel like that's a better partnership, even though Gabriel Martinelli is far more X-factor, more prolific in front of goal? I think I'm missing something. I get it, but is it okay for Tierney to be a bit more defensive when Martinelli's playing? And maybe shouldn't we be looking to the midfield and more movement from the midfield to help going forward? What's your take?
No. I agree with both points. See, I'm not completely, getting, Kieran Tierney's out for me. I don't, I'm not at that level, but I totally get what everybody's saying. And, I think it's because when you look at the games and how they happen, when you see a player that whips in 22 crosses, a lot of it goes, a lot of people will say, well, hang on a sec, he whipped in 22 and nothing happened, so that's a him problem. Whereas I think, Josh, you summed it up perfectly. Who is he whipping the 22 crosses to? Lacazette, for however much he has scored goals for Arsenal, hasn't really been very prolific with his head. Aubameyang before that, I think he only ever scored 2 in the whole time that he was at the club. And Nketiah, I can't even remember the last time he scored a header, so don't ask me.
Well, what about the question, and a couple of people are asking about maybe going to a 4-4-2 and having Laka and Gabby together up front for the rest of the season. And Kev also asked you in one of his questions, let's just say tomorrow goes great. Is it a case of Martinelli gets his place right back, or Martinelli has to earn it back again? Josh, you first.
I think it depends on the performance of 2 players, not just 1, 2, of whether or not Martinelli comes back in. And those 2 are Smith-Rowe and Odegaard, because we know those 2 are interchangeable in Arteta's head. That if Smith-Rowe has a great game and Odegaard has a great game, then I don't think Marty comes straight back in. But if either one of those has an off day, puts in a 5 out of 10 performance, then Martinelli's coming in for the other one. And either Smith-Rowe's going central, or if Smith-Rowe comes out and Odegaard stays his position, Martinelli comes out there. So that's kind of what I would see happening. I don't think he comes. I think he comes in if somebody has a poor game. How we saw him perform against Wolves, could I see ESR do the same thing? Yeah, I could see him have a similar effect on there. He'd probably help Tierney out a little bit more, because Tierney definitely struggled with the wingers. I think it was, does he start with Trincao? And then it was, I called him the Portuguese Fiat 500 because I couldn't remember what his name was. It was something like Cinquecento, but it's not. It's the guy that came on.
Quito, it's Quito, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cinquito.
Cinquito.
I think we both bastardized the poor guy's name.
That's,
but yes.
That's why I can say the Portuguese Fiat 500 and it works. I can't screw that
up. James, does Martinelli get his place right back? And if he doesn't, I can see another sky falling with some of the Gooner Nation, in the sense of, he's kind of the prodigal son right now and someone that we're relying on for goals, and the goals haven't been coming. Does he get his place right back, as Kev asked you both?
Again, it depends all on the performance. If Smith-Rowe comes in which I'm expecting him to do, and he pulls, you know, a couple of assists and a goal, how can you justify dropping him? In my opinion, you know, even though Martinelli got a red card, how can you why take out the person that's delivered for you in the previous game? In my opinion, a bit harsh. However, a caveat I'll throw to that is if we have another Lacazette like he did against Wolves and like he did against Burnley, you could potentially go, right, well, Lacazette, you're not scoring for me, you're out. And then you move Martinelli to the 9, which is where everybody wants him to play. And you keep Smith Rowe in as well. And you go, well, maybe Smith Rowe, how are you at feeding him whilst he plays down the middle? So you've got all these different variations of what we can do. But is it too early for me to do predictions? Or
we're going to do that in just a minute. I was going to hand out
how I think the game's going to go. I think Smith Rowe will probably stay in.
All right, hold the line. Someone who's turned up late, shows up late, and is giving me the Z's. A yellow card for Taib, the most carded. He's got more cards than Xhaka. Perhaps
he's got more cards than Clinton's, the way he's going.
Perhaps you missed the part of the show, Taib, where we talked about the wind, anniversaries, the Lisbon Zoo, James's hair. You know, we talked about it all, and you missed it. And you turn up, and now you're bored. Yellow, yellow, yellow. What were? By the way, they showed up at the same time, Newman and Taib. I mean, what's that about? Yeah. And Matty K, you're right. The doom and gloomers are here. We are talking about the game, and we are answering questions that people will know the answers to. So go on the naughty step, because you just got another yellow card. I've lost count how many. I've put them all in my book. I'm just going to keep giving them to you because you're going to win the league table on the poorest behaviour of any squaddie this season. No doubt whatsoever. Finishing top 4 in doubt. Taib finishing top of the card league, not in doubt at all. Right, Josh, let's get to some predictions and how you visualise the game, George Graham 89 style.
Well, if it's George Graham, it's a 1-0 or nothing else, isn't it? That's it. 1-0, score in the 5th minute. Shut up. Sorry, Kev, you're coming off because another defender's coming on. No, it's. I think it'll be a bit more open than that. We definitely know that Brentford will try and play football. I think they've got a more important game the weekend after when they play Newcastle. Depends if their own person on the naughty step comes off that as well, in terms of the shape of Ivan Toney, who I'm sure plenty of squaddies have fluttered their eyelids at the beginning of the season. A guy who's got 4 goals this season in the league. I know I say that when Lacazette has got probably 3 goals and Martinelli's got 4 goals this season. But yeah, who really knows in that bit? But yeah, in terms of how I see the game going, I think at home we are a different animal, especially compared to the one that started against Brentford last season, not last season, at the beginning of the season. So I would say a long-winded way of saying 2-0 to the Arsenal.
A lot of people in chat are asking us if it's comedy night tonight, if it's a bit of carry on. Listen, it's a mix. It's a hybrid show. You're getting a little bit of everything. You're getting expertise. You're getting visualization. You're getting a little comedy. You know, it's a smorgasbord. It's like a Greek meze. We're just serving it up for you to nibble on. Hey, where would you get this anywhere else? Where would you get any of this nonsense anywhere else? James, How do you see the show going? Going.
I think it's gone quite well. I've been very impressed. Yeah, no, for me, I'm going to go for a very easy 3-0 Arsenal win. I think we're going to keep the clean sheet still, and we're going to do the business. There is another Burnley-esque performance due in one of these 16 games, but I don't believe it's yet. You know it's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to happen this quick. So
yes,
we'll be okay. We'll be okay tomorrow.
What do we know about Brentford? Are they missing any? I know Ivan Toney was doing some light training. He's not been that great, like you said, James. What's the scoop, Josh, James, on Brentford? What should we be afraid of most? And is there anyone missing where we could say, you know what I mean?
Crosses and set pieces, potentially.
Whether or not whether or not Ivan Toney's apologised for saying Brentford are shit. I think that's the main thing, which is why he's been injured for a while. So maybe that's the apology of why he's returned to light training. But otherwise, I think, like someone said in the chat box, is Kieran Tierney versus a dribbler, and that's Canos on that side. That's where we saw first game of the season, where we saw a lot of players struggling, was from Canos on that side coming in. I think that the upgrade of Gabriel with both his knees now, or ankle, whatever kept him out of the first game of the season, Olympics and an injury, versus Pablo Marie, that's a lot stronger player defensively that he's going to be running into if Tierney's caught out. So I think that's going to help us out from there. But for me, he would be the player I'd be slightly worried about. Right? They'll love to pack out that midfield as well, but we know from what we've seen under Arteta recently, where he's kind of messed around with the formation. I think it was Arc de Rocher went through it with the Athletic, with how we've kind of moved to a 4-1-2-3, if I can work that out in my head. I've got enough players. Yes, it's a three. It's a three in midfield. So it's kind of Xhaka's sitting next to Odegaard now, and Partey's holding in the middle. Perhaps that will help us out, just getting in and around those players. And I know always Arsenal have got quick passing in our locker when we want it. It's a requirement of coming through Hale End. We've seen it for years, especially when Wenger would be going, do I need another striker? Do I need another defender? Do I need a goalkeeper? No, diminutive playmaker. Another two of those, please. And we get all of those players in. We play those lovely intricate passes around midfield. It's what we were able to do. And I think that's the thing. Quick passing. They're going to struggle against it. And we really weren't at the races at the beginning of the season last year.
All right, we're bringing this out. He's not here, but he's always here. In case you missed him at the beginning and his video and his questions, you can rewind and enjoy and watch. And of course, at this point, he'll say, come on, Vinny, kiss it, love it, hit it, nut it, caress it, butt it, do all of those things. And look, you know what? It's our first game in 9 days, but it feels kind of like our team picks itself. Does that, you know what I mean? Does that make it boring?
It helps when you've cleared out all the players, so we've only got 13 to pick from. That certainly helps.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a good position to be in and not, because I guess our starting 11 definitely picks itself when everybody's fit, James. But it's kind of true, isn't it? It's a little bit scary that there's no competition for places as much. Definitely not in the midfield. ESR maybe, and Gabby might be something as we go to the rest of the season. Saka's, untouchable. Tierney's untouchable. Tommy's untouchable when he's fit. Same with, the defender, the centre-backs and the goalkeeper. I find that a little bit of a concern, but at the same time, I also find it a comfort if they're all fit and ready to go.
Yeah. We've got touching quickly on the manager. I didn't watch his press conference today, the one last week where he said a lot of stuff that didn't end up being anything. Sort of made me think I'll probably just read the transcript instead of watching this one. But he has literally, like you said, gutted out the squad and gone to all of them, you're my guys. And so that's either going to galvanise them or put a ton of pressure on them. And we saw it against Wolves. Okay, it was only a 1-0 win. And, they got a bit carried away. But I thought the resiliency, I got it out there, that we showed and the way we battled and carried on in that game showed us a little glimpse. And, with my 3-0 prediction comes off tomorrow, then it's another one to add in the basket. Like you said, 16 cup finals, That's what we got to do, and we're messing about. We're the team on track to do it. We look like we're the ones that have got the momentum side of things. We might not have the individual players that score every week that can get us there, but form. Looking at the form, it looks like it's ours if we do it properly.
We only have ourselves to blame.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't think we're going to win every game. We can win every game, but whether we do that or not. Wow, I've had Maureen Lipman and now Phil Oakey. It's Oakley, isn't it? No, Oakley's the glasses. Phil Oakey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crikey, we've had it all tonight. Also, Gooner says this is his favourite show, by the way. So you're getting some love there. And people are also asking us for a Vespa GIF as well. Matt Roberts especially. So we don't have that, but hit the like buttons if you love this. Are you ready? I think she can play up front. Here we go. I mean, I'm just saying she could play goalkeeper. Better in the air than Ben White. Better in the air than Ben White.
Not goalkeeper. If you need to claim and bring it in.
I think she was trying to punch it out though.
Slip through. No, you got to claim that high ball if you want to be in goal for me. I'm afraid. But up front, brilliant. The header after the try to get the claim was class. Top header. If that was the number 9, then yeah. 100%.
No, notice how Vinny was in the background playing a little like Mustafi. He was just kind of like,
ball watching.
Ball watching, not having her back at all. All right, so James, you said 3-0.
Yeah,
3-0, and Josh, you said
2-0.
And Kev says 3-1. I don't know where all these goals are coming from, by the way. But I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for a ballsy 4-2. All right, how about them apples?
Ooh,
why not? Let's try and get some momentum and go ahead of, the other thing too, by the way, guys, I have a horrible feeling Tottenham might get a point off City. They've played well against them in their last 5 games.
Yeah,
I think
they've won. A bogey team for them, aren't they?
Yeah. So we've got to completely keep going for it and getting those points up and creating that space.
If Man City cannot do bits against that Spurs defence with what they've got, they should be ashamed of themselves. I cannot throw shade on Man City a lot, but if they cannot score against that, then they should. I would liquidate that team.
Oh, crikey. Gosh, we got Thomas Partey in the garage. What's the point in having a Lamborghini and you can't drive it? We're liquidating Manchester City.
They should be ashamed of themselves if they can't score against Spurs. They should be ashamed.
Ghana Gooner, je parlais un peu français. Je voudrais un glace.
Petit français?
Yeah, glace au vin rouge avec de la viande. Merci beaucoup. Yes, there you go.
Grande Big Mac, Grande Fanta, Poulet Nougat. There we go. That's my French.
Bon, c'est si bon. Mais oui. Right, that's it. That's all we got time for today. Well, let's hope that's 7-1, Newman. Thanks for showing up, by the way. You did not get carded because you were polite and you handed out some very nice compliments. Well, I'm not sure if looking like Phil Oakey's won. I hope you've enjoyed this wacky version of Tactical Squad, everybody. It's been very interesting this evening, but always interesting with Josh and James. I've got your handles up here, but let everyone know where else they can find you and when you do bits and you're not at the zoo, Josh.
Yeah, my handle is at JoshTheHuman23. You'll find me occasionally tweeting. It's normally abuse at one other member of at Burkamp Wonderland. Actually, no, we're not at Burkamp Wonderland. We now have been. We are at the AFC podcast. That's how long we've been going. Is we managed to get that at. So we went. We were live last week. I think we're doing live shows now after every game and preview shows.
Very good.
So always worth giving us a watch. Unless Highbury Squad is on, then watch Highbury Squad. Watch ABW. And I say exactly the opposite to that on ABW. So for balance.
Oh my God. James, tell everyone where they can find you. Here we go. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. We got your
I feel
ID
like I'm on
up.
Sky Sports News with that yellow bar. I feel really important. Like I've signed for someone on deadline day. They don't want me, but I've arrived. Just there. Hello, Cool James 91 on Twitter, and then Purely Arsenal FP. If you click on there, all the links are literally in my bio. And someone put a good comment a little while back, Sophie, about what kind of reception will Christian Eriksen get if he comes on, or if he
that was
starts?
Swedish Gooner, yeah.
Yeah, I hope we clap him, right? You know, rivalry aside and everything else, guy's been through the ringer, and it's amazing to think where he was to now potentially playing back again. That's absolutely class. So yeah, I hope he gets a good little cheer and everything else, and then, you know, hopefully he doesn't do anything during the game, but yeah, if he comes on and everything else, no, I if I was there, I'd clap the guy, because it's something you want to say. I mean, Mwamba used to play for us, and do you remember when they brought him out after he got better? They stood up and all clapped him and everything. So you know, yeah. I
mean, the guy died and came back to life. You know,
I mean, exactly.
Hopefully, the human aspect of it all comes into play. You guys are getting great accolades from the squaddy hierarchy, of course, from the usual folks. And apparently you are now Newman's favourites too.
I'll take it.
And they all love you. Matty K, Virginia, they all love you. Johnny Boy, and I love you too. And I've had a really, you know, this is a great way to end what has been a very difficult week. And perhaps that's where the energy is, and the kind of loopiness a little today is the sense that, man, it's been quite a week, but I couldn't have got through it without all of you guys, all the squaddies. Tony, Vinny, Vesper, and I, and our entire family are very grateful for all the wonderful messages from everybody. Like I said the other day, you guys are epic. And let's see, tomorrow, oh, thank you, just got delivered some raspberries.
Ooh,
how lovely is that? Yeah,
very nice.
The show just gets even more interesting. And an espresso. My goodness. We're going to stay on air for another hour now. I'm sick. I don't know why my voice went supersonic there either.
It was the joy.
The joy, absolutely. I'm on TalkSport tomorrow for game day, presenting with Jordan Jarrett Bryant for 2 hours from 5 p.m.
I thought you were going to say another person beginning with J, and I went,
I would have loved it to be him.
He's going to get eaten alive.
Is that Billy Ricky Town's finest? That one.
That would have been absolutely spectacular. But knowing he might be listening, I'm going to have my say. Yeah. So I hope we do win, because it's always more fun to be on the show when we do win versus when we don't. So phone up the show tomorrow if you want to have a chat. We might be doing a later post-game show tomorrow. Look out for the news on Twitter and our community page. In the meantime, have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Look after each other. Stay safe. God bless. And, you know, mind those winds and the rain. We love you. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.